All right, hello everyone. Today we're going to start semester 2 talking about our next unit, which is covering World War I. But before we get into what really happened during that crazy World War, we're going to talk about how it started and what's going on before it. And it's all about this word called imperialism. So imperialism, this image I love because it really shows what it is. It's all about power, taking over land, looking at weaker countries and taking them over for yourself. So we see this going on during the late 1800s, and it's really going to build and grow until all heck breaks loose during World War I. Okay. Before I get into what happened, I want to give you a situation. I want you to really think about what you would do if it was you. Okay. So I want you to visualize it. You're sitting in commons, everything's normal, and you see across the commons that one of your friends is talking to a kid that you kind of despise because he owes you some money. And then all of a sudden you see the kid that owes you money punch your friend straight in the nose. Okay, so I want you to think, I'm going to give you 4 options. What would you do if you saw that go down? Okay, your options are, number 1, you're going to turn away and ignore it because it doesn't involve you and you do not want to get involved. Number 2, you're going to convince a couple people around you to come and separate those 2 people so no one hurts themselves. Number 3, you're going to get into the fight on your friend's side and punch out your former friend who owes you money because, oh my gosh, he deserves it. And then number 4, last option is you're going to walk over and you're going to punch your friend in the face and you're going to punch the kid that owes you money in the face because you need to show everyone who's boss. Okay, so I want you to seriously think about which option you would pick if you were in that situation. What this chart is going to do is it's going to tell you what your option means if you were back during the times of the late 1800s, okay? So if you chose the option of number 1, where you're just going to ignore it and not do anything, then you're what we call an isolationist. You're a loner, you do not like conflict, and you're going to avoid that fight at all costs. If you chose number 2, we're going to go and try to separate those two people from fighting. You're a team player, collective security. You want to get involved so that way you can bring peace and joy and happiness to others. If you chose number 3, we're going to step in, but you're going to punch the kid that owes you money in the face, then you're a world policeman. So you are an interventionalist, and you want to intervene to try to promote your interests and your personal gain. Don't really care about the weaker person. And then if you chose number 4, where you're going to just punch everyone in the face, you are an imperialist. And that's the word we're talking about, right? It's where you want to be the most powerful person in the room. You're a world bully, and you're going to take things for your own to prove who's boss, okay? So the crazy thing is that the United States was an ostrich. We had our head in the sand. We didn't want to get involved. We were completely neutral at the start of the 1800s. And then by the early 1900s, we became completely imperialistic. And I want you to kind of use what you learned today to figure out how the heck did that even happen? How did we go from 2 extremes over the course of 100 years? Okay. All right. So the most important thing to take away from today is what is imperialism? And this is what it is. It's where a country conquers another country to build their own empire or become more powerful. And what we're seeing is that it's usually really, really strong countries taking over really, really weak countries, which is essentially bullying, right? So what you're about to see here is very graphic. So if you're sensitive to violent pictures, please turn away or fast forward a little bit. But this is a graphic that really shows what was going down during this time of imperialism. Oh my gosh, it's just aggressive. I'm so sorry. But it really, really shows what's going on. So Jimmy and Carl are bullies, and they look at Jonas as very inferior and weak. So they're going to do everything they can to show Jonas and everyone else who's boss, okay? So this is imperialism, guys. It's terrible, but this is what was going down during the late 1800s, okay? All right, so what was happening? So England was the starter of all this crud. They were the famous imperialists because they had their hand in every country, guys. They had so many countries under their control that they had taken over. It was insane. And everyone was looking at Britain to say, oh my gosh, I want that. I want to be powerful. How do I become more like Great Britain? Because they had taken over so much land, it was insane. And it all started with Africa. So everyone saw Great Britain doing this, and all these other countries wanted a little bit for themselves. Notice that the United States is not involved yet. But we look to Africa, and all these countries saw Africa as weaker because there's minorities there, right? And they stepped in and they took over the land for themselves. All of these colorful places in Africa are places that other countries had taken over for themselves. The only thing that was left for poor Africa were these little gray spots. Okay, that's the only parts of the country that were left to them. Okay, so the United States looks to this, they see what's going on, and after all this is going down, we're going to turn from a complete ostrich to a complete imperialistic power. And we're going to talk over the next few days about how that happens and what is happening to make us turn into this world bully. But I wanted you to have some background on what imperialism is. All right, guys.